Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Shri Harinam Sankirtan.
Om Gyantimirandasya Gyanajana Salakaya Chaksu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Staptitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sarvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakambhitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pastyatya Desatarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Namaste Gauravani Sri Murtaye Sri Subhanavi Devi Daite Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vigyana Daine Prabhave Namaha Vadurya Ujjwala Premadhya Sri Rupa Nuga Bhakti Dham Sri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute. Namaste Gauravani Sri Murtaye Dinatarine. Rupa Nuga Virurapa Siddhanta Dvanta Harine. Namo Gaura Koshaya Saksad Vairagya Murtaye. Vipalamba Sambodhe Padambojaya Te Namaha. Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine. Gaura Shakti Sarupaya Rupanuga Virayate. Gaura Vibhavad-Bhume-Stvam Nirdisesa Sajanat Priyam. Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Sri Jagannathaya Te Namaham. Vancha Kalpa Tarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Pevacha. Tanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha. Shri Namo Mahavedanaya Krishna Prema Padayate. Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namani Gauda Triste Namaha. Panchatattva Makam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate. Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Jayatam Siddhato Pangor Mama Manda Mater Gati. Matsarvasya Padam Bojo Radhamadna Mohana. Divya Rinda Kalpa Drumati. Sri Ratnaha Singhasanastho. Sri Sri Radha Sila Govinda Devo. Stali Bisevyamana Smarami. Srimad Rasarasarambi. Vamsivata Tatastitaha. Karsan Venutara Gopir Gopinata Te Namaha. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari. Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Gaur Premanande Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So today we are honoring the divine disappearance of Srila Ramanujacharya, one of the greatest acharyas in Vaishnava history, who is connected with the Lakshmi Sri Sampradaya. I think out of all of the Sampradayas, Ramanuja is very much close to our both philosophy, teaching, and connection, even on the day-to-day level. We have a lot of interaction with people from that particular Sampradaya, many of their devotees. So Ramanujacharya, let's see here. He appeared in the year 10 AD. He is actually a partial incarnation of Anantasesh and Lakshman combination, and he appeared on the 6th lunar mission of the light fortnight in the month of Chaitra, April, May. He made his appearance in South India in a place called Tundanradadesha at 𝗕𝗵𝗆, about halfway between Kanchipur and Madras. His father's name was Asuri Keshava Somayaji, also known as Sarvakratu Dikshitayar, who is believed was either an Advaitam or a Smartam. His mother was Kantimati, the granddaughter of the great Vaishnava Jamunacharya. Sri Ramanujacharya was given the name 𝗕𝗵𝗆, by his parents and was trained in various studies of the Alvar saints of South India. His education was mostly given by his father, who was a pundit of the time. When he was 15, he was taken to Kanchipur, where he and his cousin Govinda were sent to study under the Advaitam Acharya 𝗕𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗁. After the years went by, the Ramanuja's maturity advanced. Many times there were philosophical classes between he and the Advaitin teacher, to the point where 𝗕𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗁 made arrangements for Ramanujacharya to be killed. Still unperturbed, he preached what became his new philosophy, still the Vaishnava philosophy of Vishishtadvaita. It's a little bit different than our particular, there's a slight understanding of the position of the jiva. It's called Vishishtadvaita, or qualified oneness. Srimad Ramanujacharya directed his new philosophy of defeating the monistic views of Sankaracharya, instead of leaving misunderstandings at some kinds of impersonals. This is Maya and this is avidya. So he was making the point that impersonalism is actually another form of Maya. It's ignorance. Ramanuja gave relationships of everything. That is, everything has a relationship to the Supreme Lord. He qualified everything. Once Ramanuja was walking along with his 5 top sannyasi disciples. Stopping by a pond, he took some prasadam and threw half of it in the water for the fish. Then he got up to walk on. Just then the fish who had taken prasadam assumed 400 forms and rose in the air and returned back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. The 5 sannyasis stopped and began to disrobe. Ramanuja turned and asked them why they were not following. They said, "We are thunderstruck. Please explain what we have just seen. Otherwise, how can we follow behind you in this condition?" Ramanuja answered, "You have seen the power of taking mahaprasadam." They answered, "But we are taking your mahaprasadam daily, and this is not happening to us." Ramanuja responded, "These creatures have no free will, and therefore there's no offense." So they get full benefit at once, but with your free will and human intelligence you make offenses, and thus you hinder your own progress. Another time Ramanuja was talking with his sannyasi disciples, and they asked him how they would ever be able to understand the deep philosophy he had written. He said, "Well, I have written ultimate means simply one thing, prapatti, surrender." But they continued to argue that they would not be able to fully comprehend his writings. Then he told us, a sannyasi disciple, to bring one deaf and dumb tailor who was just happened to be walking by. When the man came, Ramanuja asked them all to leave him alone with his man. When they got up and left, but one disciple looked into the room from the outside window, and Ramanuja stood up and motioned to the man to touch his feet. The tailor made full dandavats and began to tremble and cry in ecstasy as he touched Ramanuja's lotus feet. When the disciples returned, they were amazed to see this man's ecstasy, symptomatic of the highest transcendental realization. They asked, "How could such a thing like this happen to him?" Ramanuja answered, "He touched my feet in full surrender." Not just touching feet, with the mood of full surrender. Although he cannot understand one word of philosophy, being deaf and dumb, he has attained perfection. So what is the quality of attaining perfection? Is full surrender. Ananya Bhakti. So there's a lot to the life of Ramanujacharya. That was just a little synopsis. We know his guru was Ramanujacharya, He also took a type of initiation from Mahaprasadam and also another great personality named 𝗕𝗵𝗴𝗃𝗁. The Sri Sampradaya is the Lakshmi Sampradaya also. Lakshmi Devi is the head of that particular sampradaya, like each of the sampradayas have an acharya, or a personality, not acharya. There's acharya and a personality in every sampradaya. In our sampradaya, our sampradaya head is Lord Brahma, and the acharya is, of course, 𝗦𝗵𝗴. And of course, we are called Gaudiya Sampradaya, so we are 𝗦𝗵𝗴 Sampradaya. And then, of course, you have the Chaturashanushan Sampradaya, and the head of that particular Sampradaya is the four Kumaras. The four Kumaras. And then the personality who is the one that met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Vallabha right? Nimbarka, I'm sorry, Nimbarka. Vallabha is from the Pushti Marg. Yeah, that is a different lineage that comes out from that sampradaya that mostly deals with pastimes and activities of Radha Krishna and Vrindavan. And then you have one more sampradaya, the Rudra, that is, of course, Lord Shiva. And then you have the Sampradaya Acharya as Vishnu. Vishnu Swami. Okay, right. Okay, so he was the embodiment, that is, Ramanujacharya, of humility and knowledge. When his Guru Maharaj was leaving the body, he was laid out on a palanquin, and there were devotees around, and there was the disappearance, glorification of Ramanujacharya. While Jamunacharya, not Ramanujacharya, while he was there, he was thinking about how can I carry on the mission of my spiritual master. And at one point, Jamunacharya put up 3 fingers like this while he was leaving his body. And then Ramanujacharya understood what those 3 fingers meant. These were the 3 desires that he wanted continued after his disappearance. 1, finger to travel extensively, spreading the message of Lord Narayan. 2, to write a commentary on Vedanta Sutra to establish Lord Vishnu as supreme, defeating all Brahmavad and Mayavad philosophy. And 3, having a disciple and naming him after the father of Vyasadeva, which was Parasara Muni. Ramanujacharya spent a lot of time in Kanchipur. His disciples took charge of the mission after his departure. There are many, many wonderful stories in his life. I can think of one. One time, I'm jumping ahead in terms of chronological order, but there was one particular disciple. His name was, let's see, he was known as a great scholar. Dasarati. Yeah, Dasharati. Okay, and he came to Ramanujacharya, and he asked him, can you give me the meaning of this verse spoken by Lord Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita? No, not that one. That's not. Sarva dharma parikshajam mamekam saranam brajam aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha yashyami masuchaha. And Ramanujacharya said, actually, just recently, your cousin, she's a young girl, she just got married, and she got married to one man, and his mother is making her work very hard by carrying wood for cooking, carrying water from the well, and she's struggling to keep up with the services, and it's very difficult for her. And she came to me and asked me for some advice. I said, go back and I will help you. So I want you, 𝗕𝗵𝗴, to go and assist her. And so he decided, yes, okay, this is the instructions of my spiritual master. So he went, and the arrangement was made, and then he helped his cousin take water from the well he was carrying the wood for cooking and everything, and it was making it easier. And then he went on for some time, and he was doing this as a regular thing. One day, he happened to be traveling in the town, and he's in his work clothes because he's been doing heavy, it's just ordinary menial work. And he sees this gathering of one person speaking in the middle to a large, not large, but a circle of people around him, and he's talking philosophy. So 𝗕𝗵𝗴 came and stopped to listen what this man was saying. But while he was listening, he wasn't happy with what he was saying. He could understand this man doesn't know philosophy. So he was not saying anything, but he was showing signs of dissatisfaction. And the speaker happened to notice him and said to him, oh, something you know better than what I'm saying? So you speak something. And so he started to speak, and then the whole crowd was just amazed to hear his explanations of the same subjects that this man was speaking, but in a more clear understanding and actually scriptural correct way. And everyone was shocked to see how expert he was in the philosophy and how nicely he presented it. And at the same time, even the speaker was amazed. And he said, wow, you're just an ordinary laborer. How do you have this such knowledge? He said, what is your name? He says, my name is 𝗕𝗵. Oh, you're 𝗕𝗵, the famous 𝗕𝗵. But look, you're just doing ordinary labor. He said, this is my instructions of my spiritual master. Then it was understood to 𝗕𝗵. No, that's not the word. That's the one I have to work on. That's Krishna's reminding me. He has a way of purifying people, even if you don't want it, but you get it. So, in 𝗕𝗵𝗴, what does it mean? Well, to surrender means to follow the instructions of the authority. We may be somewhat inclined to certain activities, and maybe we have a strong desire to fulfill that desire, that inclination. But if the spiritual master says, you go here to Goa and preach, or you go to United States and preach, whoa, that's like, wow. That's like entering into the lower planets. Those of you who've been there, you can understand. It's very modern, but it's still a lower planet. It's called, what is that called? The subterranean hellish planets, right? They're quite modern. They even got sunshine in there sometimes. Especially if you go to London. And Prabhupada went to London one time. He was on a talk show with some very, high energy, kind of a joking kind of host who would always make jokes and criticize his people he was interviewing. So he said to Srila Prabhupada during the talk, he said, what is your conception of hell? And Prabhupada said, London. Shocked everybody. He said, you know, you have this nice island, but it's always dark. There's no sunshine. It's always rainy, foggy. But still, you've made some civilization here. Then he said, if you go to India, the sun is shining every day. So Prabhupada went on. And next day, the main paper in London, the London Tribune, had a picture, or at least a caption, Swamiji calls London hell. That was the headlines. And it wasn't so, it wasn't an exaggeration. Just in case you get any desires to go to the West, just get prepared for hell. Yeah, it's really difficult there. Krishna is, you can really experience Krishna in separation there. You can't find him anywhere. Okay, so anyway, back to Ramanujacharya. So there's many, many wonderful stories. One time, another one of his disciples, again, I can't remember his name. Give me some names of this. Huh? Not Koresh, no. Dhanurdas? No, this one, he asked Ramanujacharya, he asked him a question also. He says, what are the qualities of a Vaishnava? That was the question. Anantacharya? Yeah. So Ramanuja told him, actually, you should go to, what was his name? He was in Tirupati at the time. 𝗕𝗵𝗃𝗃, exactly. Okay, 𝗕𝗵𝗃𝗃. He said, you travel up there to Tirupati and you speak to 𝗕𝗵𝗃𝗃 and he'll give you the answer. So, that was a long trip, but he said this isn't okay. He wanted to find the answer that was the guide. So he'd made the trip, he went there, he met 𝗕𝗵𝗃𝗃, and he offers his base and says, I have come because Guru Maharaj has sent me here. I had a question. He says, you are qualified to answer the question, so please, what are the qualities of a Vaishnava? And 𝗕𝗵𝗃𝗃 didn't answer him. And said, oh, you're here for a while? Here, I have some seva for you. Okay, so he gave him some seva. And he worked nicely. He did all of the seva that was asked for him. And 𝗕𝗵𝗃𝗃 didn't answer the question. And this went on for some time. And then there was a festival there, and many people came. And he was asked to serve all of the Vaishnavas. And so this went on for some time. And after maybe a month or two, I can't remember the actual time period, but it was quite lengthy, he said, 𝗕𝗵𝗃𝗃 came to him and said, what was your question? Yeah, so what are the qualities, what is the actual qualities of a real Vaishnava, true Vaishnava? And then he answered, in a very indirect and a very analogous way, he said, well, he's like a crane, he's like a male hen, he's like salt, and he's like you. And that was the answer. And he didn't want to say anything else. That was the answer. No explanation, no purport. So finally, after some time, he returns to Ramanuja and Kanchipur, and Ramanuja asked him, well, did you get your answer? Yeah, but I don't understand it. Well, what did he say? He says, well, a true Vaishnava is like a crane, which is a long-legged, kind of like it's almost like a duck, but it's not. It's a bird, and he has a long beak. He's like a crane. He's like a male hen. He's like salt, and he's like me. So then Ramanujacharya immediately understood the answer. And he said, I'll explain. A crane, they go by the water side, and when the water's by the rivers, when the water's flowing, they stand there with their beak looking for the fish. When the small fishes go by, they don't do anything. But when the big fish comes, they grab that fish. So, and when the place gets overcrowded with much water, they leave that area and go to another area. So let me see if I can understand this particular answer. That a Vaishnava, he likes to associate with great personalities, and when place gets crowded with materialistic people, he leaves the place. In other words, doesn't want to associate with that, only with great souls or with devotees who are fixed in Krishna consciousness. A male hen will run around and look through the dustbin for little pieces of corn or something to eat for the children, and he'll take the best of whatever's there and leave the rest. So a Vaishnava always sees the essence of everything and leaves whatever else is not. Now they are like, what is that quality? It's called Sarigrahi, right? Yeah. They take the best out of everything. Just like sometimes you can try to take the best of my lecture, if there's anything. So that's called Sarigrahi, trying to take the best out of whatever you're confronted from. In other words, the essence, that which is connected, will connect us to what we say values, principles, things that we can use in our Krishna consciousness, characteristics. Salt. Oh, Ramanujacharya said, this is interesting. A Vaishnava, they like to do service, but they don't want to get any credit for their service. So they stay in the background. They like to do so many wonderful services, but at the same time, they're not looking for any honor, prestige, or glorification. They're simply happy to serve. That is a true Vaishnava. And it's just like the salt. When you take a preparation, when the preparation tastes nice and the salt is right, everything becomes wonderful. But the salt doesn't get the credit. You can't say, wow, this preparation had the perfect salt. No, you glorify the preparation or maybe even the cook. But the salt makes the difference. Even Prabhupada, he likes to speak about this. He says, sometimes you're eating something and there's not enough salt, and you think, oh, I need to add some salt. And then there's too much salt. Oh, I can't eat this. So the salt makes the difference. And then he said, the last one, he said, yes, you came, you served. You didn't ask any questions. You simply did your service, whatever was asked of you. That's a Vaishnava. Simply wants to serve. Whatever opportunity they get for service, they consider their good fortune. So he answered that question, what is the qualification, or what is the characteristics, I think that's a better term, of a real Vaishnava. And then that was done through this analogous statement by 𝗕𝗵𝗴. That was, let's see. He was Ramanujacharya. Let's see. He was preaching strongly and defeating Mayavadis. There was one Mayavadi philosopher scholar, his name is 𝗕𝗵𝗴. he carried a whole cartload of books, and he challenged Ramanujacharya to a debate. And Ramanujacharya said, he wasn't interested in debating this person. But then he said, then, if you don't want to debate me, then I must teach you Mayavad philosophy. And then Ramanujacharya wasn't agreeing in that. And then they had a debate, and for 18 days they debated, and no one was winning. No one was coming ahead. And then Ramanujacharya prayed to one deity called 𝗕𝗵𝗀𝗃𝗺, and then the next day, when he came to meet Yajñamurti, Yajñamurti saw that he was so effulgent, he simply surrendered and became a disciple. And he got renamed Devaraj Muni. Yeah. Four Brahmins approached Ramanuja for Diksha. He sent them to Devaraj Muni, and Devaraj Muni refused to give them shelter because he felt that they should go to Ramanuja. And Ramanujacharya was testing him just to see his humility. Two prominent books of the Sri Sampradaya written by Devaraj Muni. There were two books. Oh yes, this is a very interesting pastime. One time, Ramanujacharya, I can't remember where he was, there was one wealthy personality. He was traveling, that's right, he was traveling from place to place. And he came to one place where he had one wealthy disciple. And he said to his brahmachari assistants, two of them, you go to his house. What was his name? Can't remember his name. His name was Yogesh. Yogesh. You go to his house and you tell him Guru Maharaj is coming tonight for prasadam, so make arrangements. So they went, they came to the house, he welcomed them. Oh, disciples, my godbrothers, disciples of my spiritual master, Ramanuja. You've come? Yes. Why? Well, Guru Maharaj has sent us. He wants to come tonight to your home, and please make arrangements for prasadam. And he became so excited that he started to order all of his servants to come and buy this, get this, clean here, doing that. But he completely forgot and neglected to give the brahmacharis even a glass of water or a place to sit. He simply became so excited about his Guru Maharaj coming that he neglected them. So after some time they left, they went back to Ramanujacharya. He asked him, did you tell him? Yes. How did he respond? Well, he was very enthusiastic, Guru Maharaj. He was making arrangements already. How did he treat you? Well, actually he was so busy that he didn't speak to us hardly at all. He simply went, he said, I'm not going. I'm not going to his place. Because he didn't treat his godbrothers properly, Ramanujacharya changed his mind. He said, I will go. There's another disciple. He lives in the same town. He's a very poor man. He goes out and begs every day for whatever he needs to eat. And you go to his home and you tell him Guru Maharaj is coming for evening meal. So they went, they told. Now, he wasn't there, but his wife was there. But they were so poor that she couldn't even come out in person because she didn't even have proper dress. So behind the door, she received them. And they said, oh, Guru Maharaj is coming tonight, so can you make arrangements for prasadam? And she's thinking, we don't even have enough to eat from day to day. How am I going to make arrangements for prasadam? But then she was thinking, she had a plan. She said, yes, tell Guru Maharaj to come. And then she remembered there was one merchant who was always he was always after her. He was always making proposals to her. Sometimes she would go to his place, and whatever few, pice she had, she would get some grains or some atar or a little rice. And every time she would come, he would always be very, he wasn't acting properly. And he was trying to entice her. And now she went to his place and she said, my Guru Maharaj is coming tonight, and please give me, and then she gave some vegetables and some, atar, some rice, so many things. And she said, if you do that, I will agree to meet you also later on in the evening. Oh, he said, she's finally surrendering. So he became excited. He said, Mataji, take whatever you want. He didn't call her Mataji because he was seeing her a little bit differently. Mataji is a term of respect, but he wasn't saying Mataji. So she gathered all of this, many vegetables and whatever she needed to make a nice feast. And she started to cook, and then her husband came home, and he said, what are you doing? Where'd you get all this? Well, Guru Maharaj is coming tonight he's here in town with his disciples, and they're coming for evening meal. And so I gathered all these from that merchant. And he said, how did you get all this? We don't have anything. And then she felt very ashamed. And she remained silent. And she said, I agreed to his proposal. And her husband was very much, he wasn't upset. He said, you actually did the right thing. For Guru Maharaj, we have to sacrifice everything. So she cooked this nice meal, and then, of course, he came, and he was surprised. Oh, such a nice meal. And then she told him, he asked her, how did you get it? She told him the story. And then he took prasadam, but he didn't eat everything. He left remnants. And then at one point, he said, at the end of the meal, he said, you gather these remnants, and when you go to that merchant tonight, you bring my remnants with you. So he was satisfied, blessed the whole family, and they served him nicely. She went anyway, to the merchant, and he was happy. Oh, you've come. Yes, and I've also brought some of the remnants of the food that you gave me that I cooked for my spiritual master, so please, here, take some prasadam. So he started to take the prasadam. And when he started to eat the prasadam, his whole mind completely changed. Completely. He actually started to cry. He was crying, both in a feeling of mixed happiness and mixed unhappiness, because he was thinking, oh, you're such a wonderful, chaste lady, and I'm such a low-class person. You are like my mother. Please, 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 forget about what I have asked and go on back to your home and be happy. So like that, just by taking his remnants, mahaprasadam is powerful, very powerful. If you have that consciousness, what is that consciousness? It's not simply to satisfy the sense of taste, it's to meet Krishna in the form of prasadam. One particular devotee, because in ISKCON, there isn't any question that Prabhupada did not get. Devotees asked Prabhupada every possible question. And that was good, because Prabhupada set the standard on all levels, both how to behave materially and how to practice Krishna consciousness correctly. So one time, they said to Prabhupada, you said that prasadam is non-different than Krishna, and you can become Krishna conscious simply by eating prasadam. So, can you give me permission to simply eat prasadam? Because I want to become Krishna conscious. This is my favorite seva. So, Prabhupada said, yes, but there is one condition, which is a state of consciousness. You have to see, and not just philosophically, theoretically, but you have to understand that prasadam is non-different than Krishna. If you have that consciousness that prasadam is non-different than Krishna, then you can become Krishna conscious simply by eating prasadam. But he couldn't come up to that standard, so it's very difficult, of course. The mind always jumps in and gives it other different formulas. So, yeah, there's many other pastimes of Ramanujacharya. Of course, we didn't want to forget about, there was one king, he was a Shaivite, he's called Kolatunga. He wanted to he was in the area, not too far from where Ramanujacharya was. Ramanujacharya was famous at that time. He had been defeating the many Mayavadis and establishing his principles of devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Narayan. But this king, he was envious, and he was also quite vicious. He wanted to convert everyone to worship Lord Shiva. His minister was a former disciple, and he had left Ramanujacharya and came to this Kolatunga. He told the king about Ramanujacharya, and the king said, all right, we should call him for a debate, and we'll take our best pundits, and if he defeats us, we'll kill him. And if we win, then he'll have to surrender to us. So that was the idea. So they sent a messenger to come to Ramanujacharya. But Koresh understood the whole situation, and he accepted that messenger. And what he did, he put on the clothes of Ramanujacharya. And there wasn't much difference in their appearance. And he said, when this person came who didn't know what Ramanujacharya was, he said, I'm Ramanujacharya, I will come. He also came with Mahamuni too. They both came together. He was quite elderly. Koresh changed his clothes. He came with Mahapurna, that's right. They came together. He defeated the king's ministers like that. But then, rather than killing him, the king had remembered that his daughter was haunted by a ghost when she was young, and Ramanujacharya had done something to free her from that. So he decided, well, I'm not going to kill Ramanujacharya, who he thought was actually Koresh. He simply blinded them, both Mahapurna and him, and took them out into the woods and left them there. So Koresh actually sacrificed his life and actually his vision for his spiritual master. Koresh was happy to perform this sacrifice on behalf of Ramanujacharya. When Ramanujacharya found out the whole story, he said, actually, he said to Koresh, you should go in front of Bhadaraj, the deity of Bhadaraj, and ask him to restore your sight. So Koresh was thinking, well, how can I do that? They asked the Lord to give me my eyesight back. So he went and he sat in front of Bhagavatam, and he just sat there, didn't say anything. Bhagavatam said, you come? And he didn't say anything. He said, I've come because Ramanujacharya has asked me to come. You have something to ask me? No. So then he left, and he went back, and Ramanujacharya said, did you ask him? No. Why? Because I can't ask the Lord for anything for my own personal self. Then Ramanujacharya said, he was thinking, all right, now you go back and you say, you lost something of your spiritual master, because the disciple belongs to the spiritual master. And so you say, you lost the eyes of the spiritual master, because my eyes belong to him. So he went back, he sat there. Again, Bhagavatam asked him, he said, yes, I've come. Why have you come? Well, I lost something. What'd you lose? Well, my body belongs to my spiritual master, and he has lost his eyesight, so please. And immediately, Bhagavatam gave him his eyesight back. So that was Koresh, the life of Koresh. There's one particular temple somewhere in South India. Maybe some of you have visited it. It's the temple of Koresh. He is honored in his own temple there. He's a pretty amazing personality. He sacrificed everything, and he was the best of all of the disciples of Ramanujacharya. There was one more story that I'm not sure of all of the details. There was this one man, there was a festival every year that Ramanujacharya would hold, and people would come from everyone around to take part in this religious festival. And one man, he came, and he was very wealthy, and he had a beautiful wife. And he came with his wife, and his wife was so beautiful that he was always looking at her, especially her eyes. He was mesmerized by her beauty and especially her eyes. And he would come in public and just stare at his wife. So Ramanujacharya met him and said, he welcomed him, and he said, yes, I've come with my wife, and she is so beautiful. I cannot even take my gaze away from her transcendental eyes. They're so beautiful. And Ramanujacharya said, well, actually, if I show you eyes that are more beautiful than that, would you look at those? There's none more beautiful. But Ramanujacharya says, I can show you. All right, show me. So he said, you go in front of Bhagavatam. And he went in front of Bhagavatam, and then Ramanujacharya set the stage, and he said, please gaze into the beautiful transcendental face of Bhagavatam, and especially meditate and absorb yourself in his eyes. And the man was looking, and he was looking, and he was looking, and he couldn't stop looking. He became enchanted, hypnotized by the beautiful. I guess the Lord gave a little extra mercy at that time. And he said, yes, what you have said is true. I have never seen anything like this, as beautiful as this beautiful eyes of Bhagavatam. And he actually became, him and his wife, they both surrendered and became disciples of Ramanujacharya. Now, there's more to the story, but I can't remember all of the details. I haven't heard these stories since the last 10 years, so I'm trying to recall. But now his wife, she was always decorated with all of these jewelry, and she was, quite beautiful, very opulently dressed, many jewelries. So they were living, and Ramanujacharya said, actually, I can't remember if he said it or how it actually came about, but they needed some wealth to pay some debts. So 2 brahmacharis came into the place where she was sleeping, and she would sleep with her ornaments on also. So they came, and they were taking off her ornaments while she was sleeping. And they were doing it in such a way not to wake her up. And then she actually understood that this is the disciples, but they must need some wealth. So she didn't say anything. She allowed them to take everything. And then I think what was the idea was that devotees were seeing these 2 people as not really being surrendered disciples. But Ramanujacharya wanted to prove to the brahmacharis, so he sent them just to show how, although she was very opulent, she wasn't attached to any of it. And when she could understand that Guru Maharaj must need this, so please. And then that showed to the rest of the disciples how surrendered they were. And when she told her husband, he was really pleased that she had allowed them to take the jewelry while she was sleeping. So that was just to prove the quality of their bhakti. He wanted to show others. There's so many stories. I mean, the life of Ramanujacharya is... Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took 2 principles from all of the sampradayas and made those principles a part of our sampradaya, or his teachings actually. And from Sri Sampradaya he took service to the Vaishnavas and the superiority of bhakti over karma and jnana, was it? These are the 2 principles he took from. And he took 2 from each of the other sampradayas also. I can't remember. Madhva Sampradaya, he took the principle of complete defeating of Mayavadi philosophers. I remember I was going to a Interfaith conference. This was in Barcelona, Spain in the year 2004. There was a World Interfaith Conference coming out of Chicago, and every 5 years they would do a world event, invite religions all over the world and come, and there would be talks and seminars, and the different groups would set up their places. And what was I going to say? It's been a rough day today. I'm trying to remember the point I was going to try to make. Interfaith. Huh? Defeating my... Oh, yeah, okay. All right, defeating Mayavadi philosophy. So there was one program where there was a panel of spiritual leaders who would have to present their own philosophy. And there was 3 Christians, there was 1 Madhva, and there was 1 other person from... I was a spectator. Shivaram Maharaj was also present. Bhakti... You heard about old age, right? Memory is gone. Bhakti Sarup Damodar Maharaj was also there. And so, the idea or the program was to each just present their own philosophy, one after another. But the Madhva wouldn't go along with the program. He was a young boy, and he kept defeating all of them as they were offering their philosophy. And the moderator saying, that's not the way you do it. You have to each present your own. But he couldn't tolerate that. He was challenging. Every time they would say something, he would challenge them. And I was thinking, this is pretty good. I liked it. And after a while, some of these Christians, three of them were different denominations of Christians, they got frustrated because every time they would say something, he would find some fault in it. Anyway, we also had one called the Hindu night. This was a Hindu night. So Hindu night meant all of the persons who were coming from that background. And we would all meet, and it was one particular night. So we came, and I was there with 𝗕𝗵 Damodar Maharaj, and we brought some devotees, and we brought some books and some prasadam. But the Mayavadis got there first, and they took over the whole program. And they started to speak Mayavad philosophy and start singing Mayavadi bhajans. I don't know what their bhajans were. Mayavadi is you are supreme, and I am covered by you, but soon I will be supreme too. That's the refrain. Anyway, something like that. So they took over the stage, and there was a whole bunch of Mayavadi. I remember one Mayavadi was talking. He said, you can become powerful. You can control this material energy. Yeah. I was thinking your wife controls you. He couldn't even control his mind. So, yeah. So they was talking, and I was getting frustrated. I was getting really angry listening to this Mayavadi. I wanted to say something, but 𝗕𝗵 Damodar Maharaj was calming me down, you know. He was just cool. And then at one point, they asked him to speak. So 𝗕𝗵 Damodar Maharaj got up there, because they could see he was like Lord Chaitanya in the midst of the Mayavadis with Prakashananda. He was just like so humble, you know. Not me, I was like, I wanted to say something, but I realized it wasn't going to do any good anyway. So, yeah, so they asked him to speak, and so he picked out this verse, two verses. It's presented together in the Srimad Bhagavatam from 1st Canto, 2nd chapter, I think verse number 32, 34. Vasudeva Kata, who knows that verse? Vasudeva Kata Makam Vasudeva, this Vasudeva. Vasudeva Param Gati. Yeah. So he spoke on those verses. I don't know if the Mayavadis got it or not. I don't think they got it. But Vasudeva is everything, ultimately. Yeah, it's the Supreme Lord Vasudeva. I guess they think they're Vasudeva, so I guess then they like that presentation. And then, at one point, it was time for us to continue, so we started kirtan. As soon as we started the kirtan, all the Mayavadis left. And then people really started becoming happy. And they started to dance, and they were joining us in kirtan. And then after that, we distributed prasadam, and we sold some books. So it worked out, because, you know, when you listen to Mayavadi philosophy, you think, is it philosophy or philosophy? It's not philosophy, it's something else. It's more like 𝗕𝗵 that's burnt, you know. Because in 𝗕𝗵 you have so many things in it, but when it's burnt, then it's even. So yeah, anyway. But I was amazed to see how 𝗕𝗵 Damodar Maharaj handled that. It was just so gracious, and it worked out nicely in the sense that if we would have challenged the Mayavadis, it would have been just it would have just scattered all the other people. Everybody would have probably left. So he handled it really nicely, just like Mahaprabhu did with Prakasananda Saraswati. Perfectly. Yeah. So yeah, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, and of course, Srila Prabhupada said we should also go out and find the Mayavadis and challenge them. Because they never accept defeat anyway. But anyway, Prabhupada said, yeah. But when we're faced with such situations and we're in a discussion, we should very clearly present the actual understanding according to Shastra, according to Guru, according to Krishna, and never compromise our philosophy in order to patronize other people's, feelings or whatever. One time I was giving a lecture in one of the most prestigious universities in America. It was MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. It's like the IIT of America. So, and the students are quite intelligent, so I was trying to present it in such a way that they would accept it, but I was kind of compromising what the principles that I was trying to do. I was trying to speak it in a less direct way. And then after I spoke, we asked for questions, and I asked, and one question, a lady came up and she said, "Why are you trying to patronize us? Why don't you just speak your philosophy?" That was the first thing she said. And I thought, "Ooh, thank you very much." Yeah, I was more like trying to get them to accept by making it more palatable to them. But she didn't appreciate that. She wanted to hear what we had, what we believed in, and that was nice. Like that. So yeah, we find ourselves in situations. Okay, so there's a lot more. There's one famous story about I can't remember the details, when Ramanujacharya traveled, about writing. He had to get one book, and that book was being kept by the Mayavadis or some temple, and the deity arranged for the book to get to the Ramanujacharya, and when the followers didn't realize that the book was gone, they tried to find Ramanujacharya, but he had already left. We got that one book. And then he wrote a commentary on that book. I think this was it was the commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. But he needed the Vedanta Sutra in order to do the commentary. So, does anybody remember that particular pastime? Yeah. You want to speak it? Yeah? I don't know the whole pastime. You want to speak it? You like to speak anyway. Tell the devotees they probably want to hear. I want to hear it, so anyway. If you don't... No? Okay. I can't force you. Anyway, so that's a nice pastime. You can crowd around him later and find out what he'll tell you the story. So yeah. Any questions, comments? Anything on Ramanujacharya or something related to Krishna consciousness? General question, yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Please accept my...
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for a very, very wonderful class, Maharaj.
That was the worst class I ever gave. What's my name again? I can't remember my name. I think they call me Swamiji. There must be more to it than that, though. Today I can't remember anything. For some reason. What does Krishna says? Sarvasya chaham hridisani visto mata smrita 𝗕𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗁. So I got the mercy, 𝗕𝗵. If you want forgetfulness, even if you don't want it, I'll give it to you. Okay, question.
Sometimes we may feel superiority complex, like we hear that Sri Vaishnavas, their goal is Vaikuntha and our goal is Goloka. So neophyte devotees, they may feel puffed up that we are going to Madhurya Dham, Golok Vrindavan, and they are going to Vaikuntha Dham, which is considered lower in our chart. So is it good, Maharaj? How to we can understand this?
Perfection is perfection, whether it's on one level or another. Those who have that, that mood of Vaikuntha, they're satisfied because it's perfect. They've reached perfection according to their mood of devotion. Their mood of devotion is 𝗕𝗵𝗀𝗆. It's not 𝗦𝗿𝗶𝗵𝗃. So there are devotees of Lord Shiva, there's devotees of Lord Ram, there's devotees of Nrsimhadev, there's devotees of many of the, Narayan incarnations. So we don't say we're better than you, because it's not, we can't speak like that because it's not true. They've reached perfection. And we also have our understanding of perfection. It's almost like the rasas. To say that, okay, Madhurya Ras is more sweeter than Sakya Ras, that's true. There is the intensification of bhakti is greater in Madhurya Ras, but we don't say, aha, you're in Sakya Ras, I'm in Madhurya Ras, I'm better than you. That's Maya. That's silly. No. On whatever level perfection is achieved, that is perfection. That's fine. Lord Chaitanya is Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahiyan. He's teaching the mood of Vrindavan because he's in that mood himself. He's Srimati Radharani in her bhav, although he's Krishna himself. So he's in that mood of Vrindavan. He's not in the Vaikuntha mood. But we also worship Lord Ram. We celebrate Ram Nomi, and that is Vaikuntha, like that. So you might say, well, you can say, well, I'm better than Hanuman. Are you? You can't say that. Hanuman is, he knows nothing but Ram. Even Krishna asked Hanuman to come and see him. He said, no, I'm not going. And then he changed himself into Ram. And then when he told Garuda to go get Hanuman and bring him, he came because Ram was there. But he wouldn't come to see Krishna. And so, it's the mood. Same with Murari Gupta. Lord Chaitanya told him, Krishna's pastimes are more sweeter than Ram's. You should actually become a devotee of Krishna. And Murari Gupta was thinking, So, but because Lord Chaitanya told him that, he went home that night and he was praying. But he couldn't give up his attachment to Raghupati, and he was crying the whole night. The next day he came back and he fell at the feet of Lord Chaitanya. He said, I'm sorry. I can't take my mind away, my heart away from Raghupati. Lord Chaitanya was so happy. He was testing him. He said, you're Hanuman. And he took some Gopi Chandan and he wrote on his forehead, Ramdas. So yeah, perfection is perfection.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, yes. Way there. Let's see. Let me see if I can see a little bit farther than the brahmacharis here. I'm in my brahmachari mood, so I'm not wearing my glasses. Oh, now I can see the rest of you.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Thank you so much for your class. Please accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet.
Hare Krishna. Lotus feet? No, that's a mistake. So start again.
Maharaj, my question is devotees glorify and appreciate. So how to remain humble despite of getting so much appreciation around?
How can you remain humble when somebody is praising you?
Yes.
Just tell them you don't have lotus feet, that's all. And then grab their lotus feet. How to remain humble when someone is praising you? If you think it's for you, then you will become proud, or you'll start to think, yes, this person is very knowledgeable. They understand me, finally, somebody I found understands me. If you think like that, you're actually interfering with the mood of bhakti, because the mood of bhakti is that 𝗕𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗁. So what is that 𗗕𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗁? That we are an instrument for the desires of our spiritual master, our Krishna, you might say. So we're just an instrument. So whatever we do is on behalf of the spiritual master, on behalf of the Lord. So, just like Prabhupada says, a mailman, he has to deliver the letter, but the letter's not coming from him. He's just the delivery. And if the person says, oh, you're such a nice mailman, you gave me your letter, the mailman is just the messenger. So when we do something, we're acting on behalf of the knowledge and the activities that have been given to us in terms of our service, like that. So we don't accept what comes, we pass it on. All glories to my spiritual master. All glories to the association of devotees.
And sometimes we say this, all glories to Prabhupada, but we don't mean it. So how to mean it?
How can we mean it? When we don't mean it, just mean it. It's that simple. Practice meaning it. Say it over and over again.
Yes,
All glories to Prabhupada. We say yes. Yes, all glories to my spiritual master, but 90% for him and I get 10%. So at least I should get something, right? No, it's not like that. We have to be transparent. The spiritual master is also transparent. He's never taking any credit for whatever he gives us. He's giving us what Krishna is giving us. That's all. We're giving to others what they're giving to us. So we are happy to be a feature of another person's happiness. That we like. We want to make other people happy. We like to make devotees happy. We want to make people happy. So we work in that way, but then we know that what was making them happy is not coming from us. We got that himself, we're just passing it on to others. That's our good fortune to be the representative of this knowledge of our spiritual master of Krishna. But if we claim it's coming from us, then we're actually wrong. It's not.
Yes, thank you, Maharaj. Hare.
You get the credit for doing it, but that's about all. But we don't even want that credit, because the understanding is sarvasya chaham hridistani visto matat smriti jnanam apohanam. Krishna gives you knowledge, he gives you forgetfulness, he gives you remembrance according to your desire. So you get credit for right desire. And Krishna says also, what does he say? Rasoham apsakunteya prabhasmi sasisurya pranava sarva vedeshu sabdake purusham nishu. Sabdake purusham nishu says, Krishna says, I am the ability in all living entities. So whatever abilities we have, it's actually coming from the Lord himself through the mercy of the spiritual master. I mean, one time they asked me my name, and I couldn't remember my name. I couldn't remember my name. I gave another name, which I wouldn't tell you because I don't want to implicate another person. But I gave another name, and then I realized, thank you, Krishna. So yeah, forgetfulness comes also.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
So the point, sometimes we say we have to act like it depends on us, and we have to know it doesn't. And that's not easy, because you make an effort, you try your best, and when something happens, and then the results are what we say devotional, we think, yeah, it was my effort. No. That effort also is Krishna. He gives you everything, but we can't see that because we were so much absorbed in our own way, in the way of thinking, that's all. Yes, we have a question behind there.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, my question is, does Kali use people? Does Kali use people?
Does? Kali?
Does Kali use people?
Does Kali?
Use people.
All the time. Every minute. Kali's program is to use everyone for his own selfish interest, yeah. Kali is the agent of, he's the personification of this age of quarrel and hypocrisy and all bad qualities. Yeah, Kali goes around trying to influence. What Kali's main program is to tell you, and this is what he preaches all the time, don't follow authority. Become your own authority. You're intelligent, you have done so many things, you have so many abilities. You don't need anybody to tell you anything. You can understand how to become successful in life. That's Kali's main thing. So he tells you not to follow authority, but he becomes your authority. That's Kali. That's his main program. So when you don't follow any authority, you're following Kali, because he fills in what you need, because he's expert of showing you what you want to do rather than what you need to do. Yeah, so Kali uses you by telling you you're the best. And you should, and everyone else should understand that also. It's Kali, yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, thank you. Yes, question. So always follow your spiritual master, always follow Krishna, and always take association of devotees, and you won't be influenced by Kali.
Maharaj, thank you for the class. I wanted to ask that, like Prabhupada and Ramanujacharya, so that time disciples, it becomes easy for disciples to follow because they know that he's a pure devotee, and then in scriptures also it's written that he's a pure devotee. So it becomes easy to accept the teachings or whatever, even if it is little unacceptable or difficult to take. But not all authorities are like pure, or they're trying. So how do we then, the level of trust is not that much.
Well, once you accept authority, you should follow authority. Everyone has to accept an authority. And if you don't have any authority, then Kali will be your authority. So you have to accept some person who is in a position of authority, and then you have to understand, is that person qualified to become my authority? And then whatever he says, or whatever she says, if that's your authority, then you follow that. And if you feel there's some mistake, or there's some hesitation to follow it, then you question, humbly, to get a clarification, to understand. But the real authority is Krishna within the heart, who is inspiring others to give you whatever you need. But if you're looking for success, or you're looking for perfection, then Krishna will send you that person who can give you that. But if you're looking for something less, or a combination, you'll get a person like that. So the idea is, what is the purpose of Krishna consciousness? The purpose of Krishna consciousness is to awaken our eternal love for Krishna through the process of serving Krishna in devotion. That's bhakti. So if you have that as your goal, you'll receive that authority that can bring you to that perfection. But if you want to still fulfill material desires and at the same time practice Krishna consciousness, then it'll send you an authority like that. So purify your desire by saying, I want, well, even if you come to Krishna consciousness and you don't have pure desire, learn what is the purpose of following the process. We're not here to fulfill people's desire for material happiness, even though people come to our movement for that purpose. They come to learn what is the actual standard of perfection or happiness in life. And we teach that. But even though people come, they may practice so far, and then they can't go any farther because they're still attached to their material ideas or material ways. And after that, then they stop making progress. Until they get rid of that desire, that attachment, then they can continue to make progress. And that's the process. So if you stay in the process, you purify yourself, and then you'll get free from all material desires, and you'll come to the platform of wanting only Krishna. That's there, because the nature of the soul is Nitya Sira Krishna Prema Sarukabunai Sravanani Sri Chitti Kodiyayudoi. In the hearts of all living entities, our nature is to love and serve Krishna. That's who we are. We're not anything else. But we have a body, we have our association with material and energy, we develop other desires due to our sojourn in this material world. But these things are ephemeral. They're not even you. They're the shadow of your existence. That's all. You stay in the process, these things will disappear. What is that process? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Krishna Smartam. Yeah, hear and chant the glories of the Lord, and engage in service to the Vaishnavas, engage in service to the spiritual master. The process works. And there are people who are following the process, and they've achieved that already. So you can even see examples of people who have come to that stage. It's written, it's there. So yeah.
Yes. And what do you do when mind is not accepting? It's very difficult to battle the mind.
Well, if you listen to your mind, then you become manodharma. You become a disciple of the mind. Don't listen to your mind. Listen to these instructions coming from Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. These, you fill your mind with these things, and they direct you in the right way. Your mind will tell you so many things. Bhaktisiddhanta said the mind is a non-devotee. So if you associate with non-devotees, Hare Krishna. So make your mind a devotee. You have to Raghunath Das Goswami, he gave the formula, Manashiksha, one particular series of verses, talking to his mind. Oh, rascal mind. You're drinking donkey urine in the name of, looking for name and fame in this material world. It's like drinking donkey urine. He chastises him. He chastises his mind. He cajoles his mind. He speaks nicely to his mind. He orders his mind. 11 verses just directing the mind towards the goal of life. Worship Krishna in Vrindavan. Glorify the great souls who live in Vrindavan. Associate with the residents of Vrindavan. He's telling his mind. So your mind will tell you so many things, but it's up to you whether you're going to listen to it or not. But then you say, well, I like what my mind tells me. Then you're in trouble. You're standing on the top of a large, high building, and you're looking down, and the mind says, jump. And the intelligence says, no. So what are you going to listen to? Yeah. The mind will tell you all kinds of crazy things. It'll tell you that, you're an incarnation of Ramanujacharya, and you just happen to be in this class just to hear if I was giving the right understanding of Ramanujacharya. The mind will tell you the most craziest things. But those crazy things will become less crazy after a while. And then it'll just tell you you're the best of all devotees after it gets a little less crazy. And it'll tell you so many things. But if it's not in line with Guru, it's not in line with Shastra, it's not in line with what Krishna says, it's not in line with the Acharyas teach, then it has no value. That's why we have to learn this philosophy, the practice. Yeah, that's why this constant hearing, Shravanam, Kirtanam, has to be there constantly. Otherwise, the mind will trick you.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Prabhu. Mm-hmm.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much for the wonderful class. Maharaj, one of the vital issue that I particularly face is lust. Lust means defining that to the mentality to enjoy sense gratification.
Right, exactly.
It can be either from the eyes, from the ears, from the mouth, and I can't even imagine when all the five senses are they have a get together there and then they
it's a
go
sangha.
ahead.
It's a sangha. Yeah.
So the vital reason for this is the loose talks. Loose talk.
Loose talks.
Yeah. So one devotee also asked in one of the lecture. I didn't able to conclude that. So he told that he asked that when we are interacting with devotees.
When we're what?
When we are interacting with devotees.
Okay, interacting.
Devotees in the sense they can be couple also, or they can be same gender also. So they don't know where to stop, and I also don't know where I have to stop while interacting with. So for now I have made I'll interact very less. So just I want to understand how to know the limit of loose talk.
How to limit loose talk? Well, it takes your mind away from what is actually important, and it's just a feature of the mind and the senses to find some outlet. That's all. speaking for the sake of speaking. Speaking should be, the scriptures say, Bhagavad Gita says, the austerity of speech is to speak truthfully, beneficially, avoid speech that offends, and quote the Shastras regularly, like that. So sometimes we joke around, even great souls, they joke like that. But those jokes they have philosophical meanings to them. They have some value. Sometimes, we speak about another person, but we don't speak about another person in a derogatory way. When we speak about a person, maybe, well, that person needs some help because maybe they're going off on Krishna consciousness. So, using speech in a less direct way, if it's connected with something that is helpful. In other words, when you're speaking, you should be doing something to benefit someone or to communicate something that will be beneficial for someone. But to speak just for the sake of speaking is just the, what we call it, the diarrhea of the mind. That's all it is. It's like these little kids, they can't stop talking. And nobody cares what they say anyway. So, yeah. So, check yourself when you see that. Think, one very senior devotee, he has this acumen. His mood is, in any situation he finds himself in, he tries to think how I can serve in that situation. That's the mood. How can I serve in that situation? Even if it's a mundane thing like being polite to somebody, or saying something nice to make somebody, feel good. That's fine. So service should be the consciousness. How can I serve? If you think, how can I enjoy, or you're not even thinking about how to serve, then you're going to be in the mood of enjoyment. And then you'll speak something that'll be, just an expression of one's false ego, that's all. If we can adopt that mood, it's not easy. That I want to serve in every situation I find myself in. And you're always in the right mood. And that takes a variety of expressions too. It's not there's always one way to serve. You have to see the situation, you have to see the people you're in, like that. Okay. 𝗕𝗵𝗴𝗃𝗃, you have a question? A microphone? Yeah.
Hare Krishna. My question was, as you mentioned about Ramanujacharya, that his contribution was giving the Vishishtadvaita, and it has a slightly different goal than we practice, that is 𝗕𝗵𝗴𝗃 tattva. So I was just wondering that even being in the Vaishnava cult, why the goals of knowledge are different?
I'll be honest, I don't even know, but it's about the position of the jiva. They have a different understanding, or a slightly different understanding of the position of the jiva than our understanding. And that's, I think, is the only... So, is there any expert here on Vishishtadvaita? Anybody can explain Vishishtadvaita? It's been a while since I read up on it, so I actually don't know the technical differences. But Ramanujacharyas, the Ramanujis are very good, wonderful Vaishnavas. I spent time with them. We went on many yatras with Radhanath Swami to South India. We spent time with the Ramanujacharyas. They're very respectful, very humble, very devoted. And they worship Lakshmi Narayan.
So it's just the mode of practice which varies?
Well, you're asking the same question because I can't answer it. I don't know. You have to read up of what is Vishishtadvaita and how it's different than 𝗕𝗵𝗴𝗃𝗁. There's Dvaita, there's Advaita, and there's Dvaita, Advaita, and then there's a Vishishtadvaita, and then there's Suddhadvaita also. Pure monism. Do a little research.
Yes, yes.
The ladies are active today. Okay, that's good.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much for your enlightening class. So I had two questions. So the first question is that devotees say that our goal is to go back to Godhead. And some devotees also say that our only goal is to serve Krishna. So in whichever situation Krishna wants us to serve him, we will serve him. So if he wants us to take birth, we will take birth. So is it wrong to desire to go back to God, have desire to go back to Godhead?
No, because even the Shastras mention that the goal is to return back home, back to Godhead. But Lord Chaitanya gives another formula, or he says, Nadanam najanam lasundarim kavitam vajagadisha kamayam manma janmani janmani ishvare bhavatad bhaktiya hoitukite. Life after life, let me just engage in your devotional service. So there's no talk about returning back to Godhead in Lord Chaitanya's preaching. But Bhagavatam mentions it, Prabhupada mentions it. But one time someone said to Prabhupada, a very senior devotee, it was Krishna Goswami. He said, Prabhupada, is there some devotees who never want to go back to Godhead but just want to stay in the material world to preach? Prabhupada said, yes. He said it with such enthusiasm, yes. This is the highest. So you might say there is a gradation of purity in consciousness in there where one will accept the fact that whatever Krishna wants, just let me serve him life after life. If he wants to keep me in this material world, fine, as long as I can become his devotee. And then there's others who say, we got to get out of this place. Because it's a horrible place and we want to purify ourselves and qualify to return back to Godhead. So you can't say, well, you're wrong and he's right. They're both right, but one is, you have sugar, and then you have molasses, and you have gore, and then you have rock candy. They're all sweet. But the intensification of the sweetness is in proportion. So the highest is not to ask anything from Krishna, not even to ask to go back to God. Just ask, how can I serve? That's the highest.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Lord Shiva, he said that about Chitraketu. When he was cursed by Parvati to go to hell, he offered his obeisances. Thank you, Mataji. I'm on my way to hell. He was just happy that he got blessed, he felt. He became a demon, but he never lost his Krishna consciousness, even though he was in a demon body. So yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah. Thank you. But if you want to go back to Godhead, that's fine. Okay, so we better stop here because prasadam is also part of the program. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bo, Sri Ramanujacharya ki jai. We have some books for anyone who wants to take a look. Yeah.
I need to go out.
You're going for a preaching?